This meeting is being recorded.
All right, my friends, we're on Nun Gimel Amid Beis 53b. We're just before the Mishnah, just a little bit before the Mishnah. We're at Va'amdu Shnei Kohanim. So, quoting from our Mishnah, our previous Mishnah, Va'amdu Shnei Kohanim B'Shar Ha'Elyon Shayored, that there were two Kohanim who were at the Shar Ha'Elyon who came down. So, Bayra of Yirmiyah Lamala Asiris Donachis Chamisha of Kaya Sarah. So when it says that they went to the 10th step, doesn't mean they went down 5 steps, and then that means that there were 15 steps. Remember, corresponding to the 15 Shir Hamayos. So is it that they went down 5 and they remained on the 10th step? Odilma Donachis Asara Kaya Chamisha, or maybe they went down 10 and they're on the 5th step. So Teku, not really clear which step it was on. So we have to leave that matter unresolved until Eliyahu comes. Tanu Rabbanan. Okay, so it says, remember, at the end of the Mishnah that they would turn their backs to the base, that our ancestors turned their backs to the base HaMikdash. So Shneimar Upneim Kema. So the question is, Ini Odea Shachariyam El Heichal Hashem. If it already says that their faces were Kema, were east, then don't we know their backs are to Hashem? So Ella Matan Lomar, it's a little graphic. Achariyam El Heichal Hashem. Elam Yishayu Porin Atzman. Reason that they would defecate to show their derision for the Beis HaMikdash. So we say, however, that we are for God, and to God are our eyes. Any is this so? Can we say that? Amar Rabbi Zeir, Kol Omer Shema Shema, Kil Amar Modim Modim. Right? Someone says Shema twice. It's like they say Modim Modim twice. In other words, the issue is, it sounds like we're acknowledging 2 different deities when we say Ka 2 times. El Hachi Amri, Hema Meshachim Kema, Va'anu Laka, Veninu Laka Miachlos. So we're saying is that to God, Anachnu Modim, we acknowledge, we thank, and our eyes turn to God, pining for His mercy. So since we are mentioning 2 different ideas or praising God in 2 different ways, it's evident that we're not referring to 2 different gods. We're just giving 2 forms of praise to the same God. Okay? And that brings us, my friends, to the Mishnah. All right? We never do any less than 21 tekiyos in the Beis HaMikdash any day. It never exceeds 48 tekiyos. How so? There were 21 tekiyos on a standard day in the Beis HaMikdash. 3 for the opening of the gates, 9 for the Tamid Shachar, and then there were 9 for the Tamid offering in the evening. Musafin hayu mosifin o teisha, and for the Karban Musaf they added on 9 more. And then Erev Shabbos, when there was an Erev Shabbos, hayu mosifin sheish, they would add on 6 more. Shalosh lahaftiel esa'am, 3, which was to get everyone to stop what they were doing, that they should stop their work. Malacha. But shalosh lahavdil ben kosh lachol, and then another 3 were done to actually say now it is actually Shabbos. Now, when do we get to 48? So the Mishnah tells us, Erev Shabbos v'socha chag, when you have an Erev Shabbos during Sukkot, hayusham arbaim ushmona. There were 48 altogether. Shalosh psicha sha'arim, 3 more for the opening of the gates. Shalosh shar ha'elyon, 3 for the upper gate. Shalosh shar ha'tachton, 3 for the lower gate. Shalosh l'milei hamayim, 3 for the filling of the water. Shalosh l'gav mizbeach, and then there were 3 on top of the mizbeach. Then Teisha Tamishal Shachar, V'Teisha Tamishal Ben Arbaim, 9 for the Tamid, 9 for the other Tamid, V'Teisha Musafin, 9 for the Karban Musaf, and Shalosh Lahaftil Sa'amin Malacha, V'Shalosh Hatel Ben Kodesh Shachol, and 3 to stop, to get everyone to desist from doing Malacha, and then 3 to distinguish between Kodesh and Chol. And I'll trust the Mishnah's arithmetic that gets us to 48.
Rabbi, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's probably a very silly question, but I thought that Kiyat Shofar was a key component of Rosh Hashanah, and that this seems to me like taking away from the specific purpose of the tekiah on Rosh Hashanah. I don't get this connection here.
Yeah, well, because we don't have a Beis Hamikdash today, but that was part of the rituals were the tekios. So you're right. We're just used to it only being for Rosh Hashanah because we don't have the Beis Hamikdash. In theory, it was for fast days also. So there's a question why we don't use it on fast days anymore. In theory, it should be used for fast days also, but we don't do that.
So blowing shofar was a common thing at that time.
Yeah, I don't think it was as right because these things were based on things that were normal. In biblical times, people like went out to war and they had horns and stuff. The idea of taking the arba minim, it was a normal thing in ancient societies to take, the plant life or take what they grew from their fields and to walk, and to bring it and to celebrate with it. So they seem foreign to us because it's not what we do in our society, but it's not as foreign in ancient times.
But they did have other ways of doing tekiah, not to use a shofar.
Right. There are other kind of trumpets that they could use as well. But speaking of Rosh Hashanah, we're actually going to see machlokes in the Gemara that it's connected to. So right here, Masnisa to look Rabbi Yehuda. So our Mishnah is not in accordance to Rabbi Yehuda. Titania, Rabbi Yehuda Omer hapochis lo yivchos misheva. We never deduct more than 7. V'amosef lo yosef al sheish esrei. We never add more than 16. So v'mai kamiflagi. So what's the basis of the argument between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda? So this connects to Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Yehuda savar tekiah trua tekiah achasi. Rabbi Yehuda says that when you have a tekiah trua tekiah, it's considered one singular unit. Rabbanan savri tekiah lachud trua lachud. That no, every tekiah and every trua is its own separate mitzvah. So the nafkamina for this is going to be about can you have time elapse between the tekiah trua and tekiah or not? But my time is Rabbi Yehuda. Amar kra usikatim trua. It says in the pasuk, "You shall blow a trua," and uksiv trua yisku. So ha ketzad tekiah trua achasi. So it sounds like from the pasuk uskatim trua that tekiyas and truas go together; they're never separable. However, for Rabbanan, how do they understand it? It's coming rather. Sorry, just a lot of noise coming from. Just gonna mute. But feel free to unmute if you have any questions. Okay. It's basically just to tell us. Where's Rashi on here? Rashi says, never mind. So it's basically just to say that they're supposed to accompany each other, but it's not necessarily saying that they are a singular unit. It's how the Chachamim would understand it. Rabbanan maitamayu, and where do Rabbanan get the idea that they are separate units? Tichsiv ubahakil esakahal tiskuv lo sario. So we see, this is from Bamidbar, that there are times that tekiah, you have a tekiah without a trua. If you were to tell me that tekiyas and truas always have to go together, would God tell us do half a mitzvah, don't do the other half of a mitzvah? So it must be that tekiyas and truas, while they generally do go together, there are times that they don't. So that proves to us that they are not a singular unit. They are not contingent upon each other. They're separate mitzvos. Now, what does Rabbi Yehuda say back? Rabbi Yehuda, hula simna ba'alma huda asa. Rabbi Yehuda says that no, it's just a simon. It's this kind of tekiah that's taking place. Some tekiyas are done for a formal mitzvah. Some tekiyas are done just to, like an alarm bell, basically, right? Like think about the alarm. Oh, guys, Shabbos is coming. So it's not a mitzvah to blow shofar then. It's just a simon. They didn't have Shabbos horns that they could, you go to like Farakwe or 5 towns, they have a Shabbos horn I think you could hear. So that's based on this. Rabbanan simanahu, yes, Rabbanan say indeed it is a simon, but Rachman shavi mitzvah. But the simon God considers to be a mitzvah. So there you go. Now, Kaman also hadam Rav Kahana aim bein tekilah truav lo klum. Kaman Rabbi Yehuda. So Rav Kahana says there's no difference between a tekiah and trua, velo klum. Not a difference. There's no spacing between a tekiah and trua at all. So this sounds like it would be more in accordance with Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says that the tekios and the truos are a singular unit. That would suggest you can't have any interruptions between them. And the Gemara says, Pshita. Well, of course this is in accordance with Rabbi Yehuda. Why would I think otherwise? How could it possibly fit with the Rabbanan? Samadatema afil Rabbanan ulafuki with Rabbi Yochanan. Maybe this Rav Kahana statement could fit with the Rabbanan, and it's really just coming to the exclusion of Rav Yochanan. The Amar, Shema Teisha Tekiyos Teisha shows. If you heard 9 tekiyos over the course of 9 hours by Yom, Yatza, you'd be Yotzi the mitzvah. So maybe Kamash Malan, Rav Kahana is coming to the exclusion of hearing tekiyos, 9 tekiyos over the course of 9 hours, and the Chachamim would be in agreement with that. Oh, okay, if that's true, Vema Hachinami, maybe this is in accordance with Rabbi Yehuda. With the Chachamim. Simkain, my velo klum, but he used the language of velo klum. So velo klum suggests that there can't be any spacing except for Kedei Neshima, just enough to take a breath between the Trua, the Tekiah, the Tekiah, Trua, and Tekiah. And this is one of the things we look out for when on, people think that in order to be a Baal Tokea just means getting up there and you blow a horn really well. But actually part of it is knowing that there's certain ones that you're supposed to breathe in between, allow for Kedei Neshima, and there are others that you're supposed to go directly without the breath. So that's it all comes from these kind of sugyos. Gloria, good to have you back on with us. Welcome back. Good to see you. I can't hear you, but it's good to see you. I muted everybody. You can unmute if you want. All right, we'll try to get a little bit further. All right, let's shift this over because I'm on the other side of the Gemara. So it's easier if I don't have to look back and forth. Okay, there we go. Let's try to get halfway down the Amid over here. All right, we'll make more progress than usual. Normally we'd end over here, but we'll go like halfway down. Erev Shabbos v'socha chag. V'ilu lamala asiris lokatani. Okay. So we mentioned that on Erev Shabbos, that's in the middle of Sukkot, we said in the Mishnah, right? Shalosh lamilei hamayim. There are 3 for filling the water. Ushalosh agabe mizbeach. There are 3 tekios for on top of the mizbeach, presumably when the aravos are taken. So that, but what it did omit was it didn't mention that there were any tekios on the 10th step. So what's going on? Why on Erev Shabbos is there no blowing on the 10th step? So Masnisa money, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Our Mishnah must be in accordance with Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. The Tanya is taught in the Brisa. Shalosh lemala asiris. So according to one opinion, on Erev Shabbos in the middle of Chag, we blow 3 tekios on the 10th step. However, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer Shalosh legabi mizbeach, we only have 3 on top of the mizbeach instead. Ha'omer lamala asiris inor agabi mizbeach. Ha'omer agabi mizbeach inor lamala asiris. It sounds like it's a zero-sum game. Either you hold there's 3 tekios on mizbeach, or you hold there's 3 tekios on the 10th step. The guy who says on the 10th step does not say on the mizbeach. When it says on the mizbeach, it says it's not on the 10th step. So what's the rationale? Like, I don't get it. Who cares where I blow the tekios, right? 10th step, mizbeach, what's the difference? So we explain. My time with Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov explains, Kevan de taka lepsichas sha'arim, since the purpose is that why are we blowing the shofar? For the opening of the gates. So lamala asiris lamali. So what's the purpose of blowing it on the 10th step? The taka haylav sharhu, because if the whole point is that we are blowing for the opening of the gates to celebrate, well, the 10th step is not a gate. Hilkach al-gami. So therefore, if I'm going to do additional 3 tekios somewhere, it may as well be on the mizbeach, which is a little bit more. You have the aravos ceremony; it's a little bit more of a prominent location than just the 10th step. However, for Rabbanan Savri came into taka lemiloi hamayim. since what are we blowing for? Not just for opening of the gates, but we're blowing for what? The purpose of this blowing is for the filling of the water, for the water libation. Nisa chamayim. So agabe mizbeach lamali. So why would I do it on the mizbeach, which is more about the aravos than the water? Hilkach lamayla asiris adif. Therefore, it's better to do it on the 10th step along the way as you're bringing the water. That's the argument that they make. All right, so we bring ourselves halfway down Nun Daled Amid Aleph. We'll put our bookmarks in over there, and then our goal.
Rabbi, I made a mistake. I didn't realize it was Chatzot Trot they were blowing, not a shofar. I messed up.
Well, it depends on what instance we're talking about.
It's here. We're talking here about Chatzot Trot, not a shofar.
Yeah.
It clarifies it somewhere. I read it.
Oh yeah.
Yes. On 54.
Yes. In Rashi it says Teishel Tamishel Shachar. Shemenasken es nichse prakim mafsikim bo v'togen hakohanim bechatzotzeros. It says in Rashi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I always associated Tekiah with a shofar, but here
Rashi says bechatzotzeros.
Okay.
Very good.
I feel better now.
Okay. There you are.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so thank you.
Very good. So we'll put our bookmarks in there, and our goal next time, God willing, is to do the other half of Nun Daled Amid Aleph and go through Nun Daled Amid Beis and get to the top of Nun Hey Amid Aleph. That's our goal.
Thank you.
All right.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
All right.
Good
Have a
Yom
good
Tov.
Shabbos, everyone. Take care. And a good Yom Tov. Take care.